Hey, what's crack-a-lackin' Challenger? I'm your host, James Morelan. Today I set up my new 150-gallon aquarium, and it is behind me. Alright guys, I'm just gonna jump completely into a cinematic of this tank, and I'm super excited. I spent a lot of time on this. I recorded it all, so you're gonna see all of that footage today. It took a lot of time. It's just really cool. One of my favorite scapes in my entire fish room. I tried a lot of new techniques, and I guess just here we go. Okay, so that was epic, and it is really epic. This is my new 150-gallon aquarium, and it just looks amazing. I mean, I spent so much time aquascaping this tank, deciding the layout, deciding how everything will go, how everything will fit. I spent a lot of time planning this. I drew out the design before I even got my tank. I had the idea and what I wanted the scape to look like, and a huge shout out to H2O Plants for helping me out with this tank. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but this tank looks so amazing. The total build of this actually took me a couple hours. I had a lot of things I had to do to get this entire thing set up. So yeah, before I even talk about how I aquascape this, I just want to talk about the highlights and some things that I really wanted to work on and some things that I really wanted to have look awesome. I wanted it to look awesome. So basically this tank is a massive beast. When I was planning to build this tank and set everything up, I knew I wanted to have a lot of driftwood. And I think I really pulled that off. Something I never really have done in any of my tanks or any of my other scapes. I haven't really incorporated that much driftwood. I usually go for more stones and more plants, but in this case, I really wanted to have a lot of driftwood, and I also did really want to have some open areas, and I think I accomplished that, especially when you look directly behind me. Another thing I wanted to have was a bottom layer where there's actually a gap between the water and the surface so that you can actually see inside the aquarium. I actually decided to scrap that a little bit. There is still probably about an inch of a gap that I still have, only because it looks better when it's not completely filled up because you see the sticks and everything. And I did this for a reason, because I'm planning on having a fish that basically requires land like that. I can't really spoil it in this video. But I really want to have sticks and stuff coming out of the aquarium, and I did accomplish that. I actually have sticks coming directly this high. Some of them even going up to this high in the background that are actually coming out of it. And it looks really, really cool. So for the driftwood, I actually had wood. We cut down a tree and I actually found wood, and I was like, that's so cool. I want to use this in my aquarium. And then I cleaned it off, and then I put it in my pond. So I do have a backyard pond, and I actually put the wood and the sticks in there to release tannins and get waterlogged, because I don't have an aquarium for it to sit in, and I didn't want to have this aquarium filled up with all the wood and stuff. So I just wanted to set that up in the pond, and the tannins were released and the wood actually got waterlogged. So after about a week or two, ever since I got this tank, I actually set them aside, so I guess I've had it for a while. But I got that driftwood, and I took it out right before I aquascaped, and I let it sunbake so it got all the water out so it's easier to transport. And when I brought it down here, I didn't realize how big it was, and it's actually really big compared to the tank, and I was surprised. Some of it, it was too long to fit across the side of the tank. Oh yeah, another thing, the lighting isn't set up. I ordered the light, and I actually have to wait even longer because I ordered a hanging light set. So I have a light that's going to be fitting on here, but I want a gap between the actual aquarium, bigger than what I already have, so I'm actually going to have it hanging from the ceiling up about here. Currently what's running on this is a 48-inch LED light, which is 4 feet, and then I also have a smaller light helping provide light for these plants. But of course, I'll update you when I get that. I'll probably be getting fish the same time I get my light, so look forward to that. And guys, before we continue with this build, make sure you drop a like on this video. It was so much work, and it was a lot of fun to set up. It was really it's an easy way to relieve stress when you're aquascaping a tank, especially when you're working with such a big tank. I can't even touch the side. It's a 6-foot tank, so yeah. So I'm using a stone. It's actually this pebble stone. It's like a river rock. I've never used a stone like this in my aquarium. I usually go with lava rock, dragon stone, or suru stone, which is a common aquascaping stone, but I wanted to try something else and something different with these little pebbles, and I wanted to have those create 2 or 3 separate little platforms in the entire aquascape. I went with the sand soil. Sand looks really great, and it looks natural. This sand was a little bit lighter, which I wasn't really going for, but I guess it turned out okay. I would have kind of wanted a darker one. I might even go over over with a layer of that. And for this tank, I actually have a thick layer of gravel, like thicker gravel and like stones that are like big rock gravel, pea gravel or whatever, and I have that on the bottom layer, and then I have sand on top of that. That's because roots will be able to grow underneath the sand level, and they'll be able to spread out through the coarse gravel, because sand is like really small little fine pebbles, and over time the pebbles compress and it creates like a really thick layer which plant roots can't really go through, and it can actually crush and kill the roots. So I made sure to have that little pebble barrier to help the plants grow out later in the future. So I started adding the sticks in, and I had to support them with the rocks. So this didn't really go as planned and as I wanted it to, because I guess the substrate wasn't strong enough to hold the sticks down. So I actually had to hang some of the sticks over the side of the aquarium, and that's when I got the idea to actually have them quite a bit out of the aquarium. And I think it looks really cool. So once I got the hardscape, it was finally time to plant this aquarium. I set up mats on the bottom of the floor, and I took out all the plants, and guys, oh my gosh, I got literally the best plant shipment I've ever gotten in my entire life. These plants were as big as my hand. These things were amazing. A huge shout out to hshowplants.com. You can actually check them out down below using the code Challenger20. You can get 10% off your order. But a huge shout out to them. It was amazing. I actually got special ordered plants. These plants aren't usually sold because they are so unique and so special. And I actually have so many. I have some extra ones in my 90 gallon. I might try using somewhere else in this Aquascape. But guys, it was awesome. I'll remind you a little bit later in the video to check them out. But they are awesome, and it's pretty cool. So I got a huge box. It was like this big to empty out, and I had so many plants in it. It was completely packed up, and I was just super excited. And like right when I opened the door and got the box, it was awesome. So I decided to empty out all the plants. I laid them all out. I separated the big ones from the smaller plants because I had the Aquascape in mind of having smaller plants in the front and obviously the bigger plants in the back. So I separated them, and I started opening the bags and started adding them in. This took a lot of time, and this is the part that I feel like it's harder, especially for me. I don't know about you guys, but putting plants in your aquarium is usually harder. For the aesthetical purpose, I don't know if it looks the best, and I'm always self-conscious about the aquarium, but I think it looks pretty good. I might get some more plants and fill in some of the areas with smaller plants. I might also use some Java moss or some other types of moss to fill in the areas, but I don't know yet. It looks really good, I think, but that's just my biased opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Aquascape down below. And also, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. I don't know why you wouldn't subscribe, because... So the plants were in, and this entire tank was also really cloudy. I need to bring that part up because I didn't really clean the sand off, which you're supposed to do. And I guess I left it up to my Fluval FX4, and that thing had to filter all the sand debris out, the poor filter. But it had to clear out all the muck and all the dirtiness out of the tank. I also did use my power head for this, and the power head was actually too strong for its own good. It was actually stirring up plants a lot, but I had to make sure all the plants were secured, so I'd actually let it run, and if the plants got uprooted, they obviously weren't set in right. So then actually today I decided to come back in and make sure all the plants were set in, and they actually look really good. I might want to get some more rocks and some more pebbles. I still probably have like 10 or 20 left, but I might want to add some more in to fill in some of the back areas, and I also do want to add some more plants. But guys, I think it looks really cool. So this is such a long tank. I really want to get some fish that have a longer body and like to swim bigger distances. I also need to get a lid for this, but one thing I really want to have is shrimp. But most fish that are bigger will eat shrimp. I mean, most fish want to eat shrimp, but I don't know. Honestly, I could just get like one betta fish and put the betta fish in this tank, like one betta fish in this entire tank. Like, that would be crazy. That betta fish would be definitely spoiled. Like, I don't know what I should do. But it is a nice matching piece to my 90-gallon aquarium that's right on the side. This tank is actually going to have a black background. I'm going to make sure I have a second one in the back. The glass I've had to scrape off a couple times and clean up everything, but it's starting to look really great. Like, can we just take a second to appreciate the beauty of this aquarium? This thing is so amazing. Honestly, I just can't wait to have so many fish swimming in here. I learned from my school of neon tetras in my 90-gallon that I really want to have a schooling fish and a lot of them. So maybe like a pack of 30 or 40. I'm thinking tiger barbs, because tiger barbs look really good together, especially when they're in a big pack. But those guys are pretty aggressive, and they might not do well with quite a few fish. I do need to get a lid for this aquarium. I don't want anything jumping out of the aquarium. That would always be bad. And I have a really cool fish that I want for this tank. So I got some species of plants that I never even heard of. I have some giant anubias. One in particular was the Anubis heterophilia. That thing was awesome and really tall. I also have some dwarf water lilies and a lot of other cool plants like chainsword. And I also got Madagascar lace, which is an old plant I used to have, but it's actually a really cool plant. Basically, this plant is like, has really big leaves, but there are holes in it, and they're actually like in a square pattern. It's really cool. It's gonna take a while for these plants to get used to my aquarium and also the lighting cycle and also the light. So I am planning on a little bit of melting and a little bit of the plants dying off, but so far they look pretty good. I have noticed a tad bit of algae in the tank in general, so I probably will need to get like plecos or maybe some snails. Actually, earlier I got a snail on footage of it going like really fast, and like I'm gonna play it right now. This snail was not like, I did not change the time. This thing was going that fast. It was like a turbo snail going around cleaning. But I might need to get some more snails to help clean out the tank. But I do not want to have a snail infection. I'll probably have to get some coolie loaches or some other things that might eat it, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this tank. Again, check out h2oplants.com down below. Guys, it would mean a lot. Again, use the code Challenger20 for 10% off your order. Amazing plants, the beautiful quality. Just check them out down below. It would mean a lot. Also, while you're down there, you can check out my Instagram at James Morelan. I post photos there of myself, or my Instagram, challenge.thewild, for my fish Instagram. I'm gonna leave you guys with an awesome cinematic of this tank. It's my prized possession. So honestly, for those of you that are not familiar with the fish room, these two tanks will now be done and I can move on to my 60-gallon betta fish sorority. So what I've been doing in the fish room is, since I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Since I have 11 like larger sized aquariums, I want to start in this corner, get these aquariums set up, then move on to the other tanks. I'm super-duper excited because there's so many awesome plans for this entire fish room. I was going to post a video on that, but honestly I've been slacking so much on videos. I need to post more. But yeah, alright guys, I'm going to leave you with that cinematic. Thank you so much for watching. Again, drop the like if you haven't, and drop a comment what do you think of the Aquascape. I will see you guys on the flippity flop. Bye.